Hi everyone, it's Claire here, and today I'm going to do a tutorial on how to make an exposed core cloth pad. Now I'm going to come at this video from as if you are a complete beginner to sewing cloth pads, as I think that way it'll appeal and help really the broadest amount of people. So if you are a very well established sewer, then you can just take what you need from this video. If you are literally looking at your sewing machine and you've just got it and you're like, right, I've tried to turn and top stitch, I now want to try an exposed core, but I'm still not confident in sewing, then this will have some extra tips to make it that much easier for you, we hope. So pattern wise, you can buy on Etsy patterns for exposed core pads. There are a couple of free ones on the internet you can track down, but you can also turn pretty much any standard pattern into an exposed core pattern. So for this video, I've chosen to use a Lunar Wolf 9-inch pattern because it's a free pattern that everyone has access to online. So regardless of your budget, if you're upcycling, and you have next to no budget to make your cloth pads, this is a way you can access patterns and also do an exposed core. So when you come to print the pattern out, you actually need to print out 3 of the template. You do not need to print out the 9-inch core at all. Oh, before I continue, I must mention that although these patterns are free and it does state on her website you can sell pads made from these patterns, quite a lot of makers do, you are not allowed to alter these patterns. So if you're planning to sell an exposed core pad, don't use this pattern that I'm giving you an idea for here, how to change it up, because you're not allowed to change this and sell it. It's for home use only. And you'll probably want to develop your own patterns anyway. So anyway, onwards. Yes, we need 3 of these. You need to cut 2 of them out on the inside line and 1 of them out on the outside line. So using your full size template, you want to cut out a topper, which will be your fabric that's under your exposed core, so it will be visible on top, and your backer. I'm making this one for a friend and she likes fleece, so I'm using a fleece backer. You can use Winpro, you can use hidden PUL and a cotton back. The choice is yours. So cut out 2 of those. Then take your one that you've cut out on the inside line, one of those ones, and on the back of your topper, pop this on and draw around it on there, and that will give you a stitch line to follow if you're very new to stitching. Then what you want to do is take your 3rd one of this, fold it in half like so, use a pen and draw between the top and the bottom and chop off the wing. That will give you your core template for the exposed core. So take that template and draw out your 2 exposed core pieces. Now you can use the same fabric top and bottom. Technically the bottom won't be seen, but sometimes you can see the edges, so I like it matching. But if you're trying to conserve on your favourite fabrics, you can use a plain cotton or flannel backer if you would prefer. So you want to cut out 2 of those. Then you want to take the core template that you have, fold that in half and mark a centimetre all the way round, or roughly guess it if you've got a good eye, and cut a centimetre off. That will give you the actual size you need for the core piece that you're going to put inside for your absorbency basically. So you want to cut out your absorbency. If you've got multiple layers, then you'll need to stitch your core together before you proceed. So if you know how to do that, great, go ahead and do it. If you don't know how to do it, check out my other tutorial for a turned and top stitch, and that will show you how to stitch several core fabrics together. Then take your core piece, pop it on top of one of the cutouts of your exposed core and draw around that. And that will give you another sew line that we're going to use in a minute. And you also want to take this same piece and draw around again on the middle here, so that when you actually lay your exposed core on, you've got some lines to line it up with. Now, obviously, if you're more experienced, you don't have to do all these extra lines. Okie dokie. So the first step in making our exposed core pad is to take our exposed core topper and backer, pattern inwards like so, and pop them together. I just realised I drew my line on the wrong side. You need to draw that line, your sew line, on the back. For some reason I had a typical Claire moment, let's face it, and I did it on the inside, but I can actually still see it, so we're all good. Now, once you've lined them up, you want to clip or pin, depending on what your chosen method is, them together, like so. And then we want to pop over to the machine. Okay, so what you want to do is line your needle up with your sew line, which yours will be the right way round. Like I say, I've been a complete dopey lady and drawn it on the wrong side, but I can still see it. Line up your needle and put your presser foot down, like so. And now you want to stitch all the way around your sewing line if you've got one, or just sew all the way around your seam allowance. And actually close this. We are not leaving a turn tab. Don't freak out, don't worry, all will become clear. Okie doke, remember to go forward a couple of stitches, back a couple of stitches. Now when you come to your corners, you can glide round, try not to pull your fabric, or if you're having trouble, stop, pop the needle down. I've got a button, you might have a turn handle, and turn, lift your presser foot and turn the fabric. Then you can go round the corner nice and evenly. Do it again, and this way you will be able to stay on your sew line while you're practicing. Remember, slow down at the corner, turn, and off you go. And that's pretty much how you can sew and still get a nice straight line until you're more confident with your sewing. Remember, stop and turn. Or you can just go really slowly, whatever helps you. Also, a good tip to remember is don't pull your fabric through. A lot of people pull on their fabric. Your hands, they're really just to kind of guide it. So we're joining up our two lines, then we're doing a couple of back stitches, and we're done. Oh, needle up, that would help. Pop it out. Now you want to go round and trim down your seam allowance, okay? Okay, so we've trimmed off our seam allowance and trimmed our threads. Now what you want to do is take your scissors, you want to separate these two pieces of fabric. So pull them apart. That's a really important step that you don't want to miss. She says. She can't quite do it. There we go. So once you've only got one side, snip in the middle, pop in your scissors, and then cut a line. Now it can be quite small or longer if you've got a fatter core to get in there, but try and leave about 1.5 inches either end. But like I say, you can make it smaller. Don't worry about this being neat, it won't be seen. Now you want to turn this the right way out, like so. I'm just going to have to go up here a bit because this is a bit awkward leaning over the camera. There we go. Okey-dokey. And there you have your exposed core casing, if you like. Now what I like to do now is give this an iron just to make sure that the seams are nice and neat and together. So I'm going to do that now. Okie dokie, that's done. Now what you want to do is take your core and you want to turn this over and pop this inside, okay? Okay, so now our core is inside, as you can see, and you've got a nice, neat, exposed core piece. The next thing you want to do is take your topper fabric, the one that you've drawn the line on top of already, and then place your core, exposed core, in those lines to line them up, like so. And once they're lined up like that, then you can pin or clip them. I'm going to pin, as this pattern is a bit wider than my normal ones, so I don't think clips will work. So just pop in a couple of pins, like so. Now a lot of people, when they talk about exposed cores, some of the instructions out there that even come with the templates you buy, the patterns you buy, instruct you to, at this point, put your topper and backer together, turn it, and then stitch this on. But then your stitches go right through the back of your backer, which means if you're particularly heavy or you bleed onto the stitching, you can actually wick through the stitching and out the back, which is what's put some people off of using exposed cores. But by doing it this way, you're not going to go anywhere near your backer and you will be protected from leaks. So off to the sewing machine. Okay, so now what you want to do is put your presser foot up, put it under and line it up to where you want to stitch. Pop your presser foot down, and then we're just going to stitch all the way around and stitch our exposed core to our topper. Remember to slow down as you come to your corners and either turn them yourself or needle down and turn. Again, you can go as slow or as fast as you want. When I first started sewing, I was big at zooming off all round, and then I'd be really upset that my stitches were never that neat compared to other people's photos. But it really is just all about the speed you go and taking your time. Again, slow down at your corner, turn, and then go round. Join up the two lines, again a couple of back stitches, and you're good to go. So now you want to take out your pins or your clips off, depending what you have used, and you want to trim your loose threads from the top and from the bottom. So then you want to take your backer and your topper and choose which side of your fleece you want facing out. I think I'm going to have that side. So then you want to put your exposed core facing inwards line up the two, like so. And then you want to either pin or clip, depending on, again, your preference. I think I'm going to clip. Oh, well, that one's gone. There we go. Okay, so now what you want to do is to sew along your stitch line, line up with your line and where you want to turn. I already added a little bit of extra fabric here for my turning space. You don't have to do that because with this pattern it leaves enough sewing allowance, seam allowance for you to actually add that afterwards. But I did it just as a marker for where I want to start and finish. But you do not need to do that. Okay. So then we're going to, now here I did mention this in my video, but I'll do it again here. At my turning space, normally you would go forward a few stitches and back stick a few, oh my goodness, get your words out, Claire. Forward a few stitches and back stitch a few stitches. At my turn space, I like to do that a couple of times because it just makes it stronger. So if you've got a bulkier core and you need to give it a tug coming through, it won't open up your seams. There, and that will give you a really good, strong turning space. Now needle down when you come to the corner, and then you can easily just lift and turn like so. And you want to go all the way around. Again, you can stop at all of these corners and go really slowly. One of the hardest things actually when I started sewing was definitely going around curves and corners. I actually now find it really hard to go slow like this, and I end up making like way more mistakes. But I really want to show you how you will be doing it to start off with to learn. Some of the videos I've watched, people go steaming along and you can't actually see what on earth is going on. Now we're coming back to our turn space again. So again, we want to do forward and back, so that it gives us a nice strong space to turn. Like so, needle up, and then you want to bring it out. Now what you want to do is, obviously you probably won't have that at this point. So what you want to do is at your turn space, cut with your scissors, cut with your scissors down this part and don't cut that bit shorter. Leave that and you'll have some turn tabs there which will give you a neater edge to your wing. and you want to cut off the corners here. Cut any excess because this has quite a lot of seam allowance, and as you can see my fleece is stretched there a bit as well. And you want to cut into the corners, but don't go on to your stitching. That's really important, and then you'll be able to turn the pattern. Okay, so this is it turned right way out. Now you want to take a chopstick or your fabric pen, or I use, very carefully because it does have a blunt point, I use a plastic knitting needle, and you want to pop that in through your turn hole and make sure you go around all the seams to make sure it's out nice. Then once you've done that, you want to turn in your extra fabric you had for your turn hole, and you want to take the whole thing over and iron it so it's nice and flat. Okay, so now it's been ironed, I have closed my wing, and now you have two choices with this. You can either do a traditional top stitch and obviously stitch your bit closed and go all the way round, which I quite like as a look, but some people choose to just do the wing on either side to match and close it that way. It's really completely up to you. I think today I will, what should I do? Today I'm going to just do the wings, I think, as though otherwise this video is getting quite long, but I would normally top stitch all the way around. So let's do that now. Okay, so I'm just going to do the wings. I've actually never done that before on one of these, but it is something I have seen done, and if you are looking for an easier option or you want to make pads a bit quicker, then maybe you want to give it a go. So we'll give this a go together and see what on earth happens. Okay. I quite like that. I can see why people do it. I don't know if I prefer it to top stitching all the way round, but this is a good thing about cloth pads, is you can always try something new. Okay. Ta-da. Okay, so that is our completed pad. I quite like this little wing detail. That's quite nice. I'll have to do that again. So, you never know. Maybe you've not seen that before and that'll be an idea. I don't know if it replaced my turned and top stitched all the way round, but we will see. Now, like I say, I chose to do this specifically with the Lunar Wolf pattern just because it was accessible. But I've actually got my first ever turned and top stitch pad here, so you'll have to excuse the fact that it's not exactly amazing. But this is just to give you an example of another way of doing it. For example, I prefer a much larger pad with a much bigger end. I faux serged around the edge instead of doing the turning method that we did on this. You can do that too. If you have serger or you like faux serging, it's completely up to you. I did a flannel there, and I actually did a patterned fabric for my backer, and this has hidden PUL in it. So there are many options when it comes to exposed core. It's all really just about experimenting. This was not an exposed core pattern. This was just one of my patterns that I kind of swapped up and did this way. So really just enjoy experimenting, and I hope this video helps you sew a exposed claw. I really cannot get my words out. I cannot tell you the day I've had. Exposed core pad. And I will be back with another video soon. Thanks for watching.